This event has been in planning for 2 years now, and as you can see, the wait has been very rewarding. Behind me is Garner's Ferry Road, which had floodwaters reaching as high as 5 feet in some areas. That means that cars like this one would have been completely underwater. Harold has been helping run this pawn shop since the 1960s, with inventory like this helmet dating as far back as World War II. This is the Rivalry Bridge, where reports estimate that anywhere between 10 and 15,000 people held hands in memoriam to those who lost their lives at Emmanuel that night. Now, to give you an idea of how many people that is, the Rivalry Bridge is about 2.5 miles long, and the city of Charleston is across the river behind me.
Garner's Ferry is open. No more roadblocks.
Come get your mows tomorrow.
These were the sounds of celebration. Yesterday, Divine Street and Garner's Ferry Road opened for the first time since the flooding.
Divine Street is now open, people.
Behind me is Garner's Ferry Road, which had floodwaters reaching as high as 5 feet in some areas. That means that cars like this one would have been completely underwater. The reopening was great news for many people, including Jermaine, who just started working at Moe's 9 months ago.
Like, it was only, I say we were out of work for probably like a week and a half or almost 2 weeks. I thought it was going to be like a month at least, and I was worried about how I was going to pay rent and all of that, you know.
It's also good news for Chris, the store's owner.
Normally we have about 300 customers a day, 300 to 400 out of this location. So you can imagine the revenue loss that we sustained, the profitability loss that we sustained.
While Moe's is in the final stage of reopening, some stores weren't as lucky. The Smash Burger, just next door, took severe damage from the flooding.
Our Smash Burger location will be closed. We're opening it next Wednesday. So that will be 16 days that Smash Burger will have been closed before we reopen it.
Those 16 days couldn't come sooner for Chris's employees, who are just happy to be back at work.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it to be open today. I'm ready to get business going.
Patrick Conroy, Carolina News. The signs on this downtown Columbia storefront may be old and memorable, but the signs in the window are new and saddening. This familiar pawn shop is closing down in a few months, and Harold Rittenberg has to say goodbye after over 60 long years.
Well, I came here in the Army in 1950. That was the Dixie Division in Fort Jackson. Then I met my wife, Gloria, who her mom and dad ran Mo Levy's next door.
Harold's store sells just about everything from stringed instruments to swords, even toilet seats. There's even an Army surplus store in the back. Harold has been helping run this pawn shop since the 1960s, with inventory like this helmet dating as far back as World War II. Harold thinks the hardest part of closing the shop will be finding out what to do next.
Well, mainly not having a place to go. I'm 85 years old. And the wife, of course, wants me not to do anything. I don't know if I will or not. But I don't really relish the idea of going to the grocery store and staying around the house. So.
Don't worry though, he plans to leave the building in good hands.
I would not have sold this building to anybody that was going to tear it down. Ms. Levy didn't want that.
Patrick Conroy, Carolina News. Outside the Swearingen Engineering Building at USC, an activity was held where students could don a helmet, grab a hammer, and relieve stress. With the biggest game of the season and finals looming on the horizon, Ryan Pubens, the regent of Theta Tau, decided this was the best way to prepare students.
Our chapter really wanted to have a bigger presence on campus. We knew that we have a great rivalry with Clemson. We have a great relationship with their Theta Tau chapter, and we wanted to have an event where we could not only smash something right before finals, but show our hatred for Clemson right before the game, and hopefully, bring student spirits up so we can stay for the whole game.
This event has been in planning for 2 years now, and as you can see, the wait has been very rewarding. But Theta Tau isn't the only group raising the hype. On Green Street, Epsilon Sigma Alpha was letting students pie Clemson fans in the face to raise money for charity.
We know that everyone here, whether we win or lose this week, we all hate Clemson, and so it's great to use a rivalry for a great cause.
And while the annual Tiger Barn is being built, so too are the nerves surrounding whether or not USC will win.
I really hope so. I mean, if we win, I will be very excited.
Patrick Conroy, Carolina News.